Welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Janelle, and in this video I want to show you my Agatha Christie-related collection. I love Agatha Christie. She's my favorite author. I have all of her books, and that's a collection for another video. In today's video, I want to show you all the books that I have that are about Agatha Christie or some aspect of her writing, but that have not been written by Agatha Christie. So let's just get right into it. I have The Life and Times of Miss Jane Marple by Anne Hart. Now this is essentially just a book where she delves into everything we can know about Miss Marple through the books. Most of the little problems tackled by Miss Marple occurred in the pretty rural village of St. Mary Mead and came in the shape of 16 murders, 4 attempted murders, and assorted robberies, embezzlements, blackmailings, and poachings. But the fluffy and pink white old lady, also variously described as charming, innocent, dangerous, and a witch, was no stranger to murder and mystery further afield. In the 40 years of her career, she solved cases as far afield as London and the Caribbean, usually masquerading as everybody's favorite great aunt. She was fiction's most famous and unlikely female sleuth. Behind her tweedy, fluttering image, she concealed a razor-sharp brain, an insatiable curiosity, and an acute understanding of human nature. But where did she come from? Who were her friends and relatives? What occupied her before the retirement to St. Mary Mead? What was she really like? With a steady hand and a steely eye, Anne Hart combs through the 12 novels and 20 short stories in which Miss Marple appeared, uncovering clue after clue, amassing all the evidence, and solving the most difficult case of them all, the mystery of Miss Marple. So this is a great resource, especially as I'm doing my my Jane Austen read-along project where I'm kind of mapping out the Agatha Christie universe. This is very helpful. This was originally published in 1985, and the author, I'm proud to say, is Canadian. Yay, go Canada. She lives in St. John's, Newfoundland. And so that's The Life and Times of Miss Jane Marple. I also have, by the same author, The Life and Times of Hercule Poirot. Also, can I just say, I love that these books have Joan Hickson and David Suchet on the cover, because to me, those are the true Ms. Marple and Mr. Poirot. So, the Poirot book was originally published in 1990. He is also familiar to millions throughout the world. The dapper, mustache-twirling little Belgian with the egg-shaped head, curious mannerisms, and inordinate respect for his own little grey cells has solved some of the most puzzling crimes of the century, yet he himself has remained an enigma until now. From his first appearance in 1920 to his last in 1975, from country house drawing rooms to opium dens in Limehouse, from Mayfair to the Mediterranean, Anne Hart stalks the legendary sleuth, unveiling the mysteries that surround him. Sifting through 33 books and 56 short stories, she brings her psychological skills to bear on his origins, tastes, recreations, relationships, and peculiarities, revealing a personal life as fascinating as the public image of one of the best-known detectives in the world. And so again, this is a great resource for my current read-through project that I'm doing. Okay, I also have Agatha Christie, the Pocket Essential Agatha Christie by Mark Campbell. This is a newer one to my collection, and I have not read it yet. But this one claims to have almost everything you need to know in one essential guide. Since her debut in 1920 with The Mysterious Affair at Styles, Agatha Christie has become the chief proponent of the English murder mystery. Although she created 2 enormously popular characters, the Belgian detective Hercule Poirot and the inquisitive elderly spinster and amateur sleuth Miss Jane Marple of St. Mary Mead, it is not generally acknowledged that she wrote in many different genres: comic mysteries, Why Didn't They Ask Evans? atmospheric whodunits, Murder on the Orient Express, espionage thrillers, N or M, romances under the name of Mary Westmacott, plays, The Mousetrap, and poetry. She was never afraid to break the rules either, and provoked a storm of controversy with the unorthodox resolution of the murder of Roger Ackroyd, now acclaimed as one of the classics of British crime fiction. Christie wrote complex whodunits in a clear, readable style, which is why her books are as popular now as they were 80 years ago. Exemplary film and TV adaptations, Peter Ustinov and David Suchet as Poirot, Margaret Rutherford and Joan Hickson as Miss Marple, have also encouraged new readers to search out her work. As well as an informed introduction to the Christie phenomenon, this book examines all her novels and short stories. The film, TV, and stage adaptations are listed, and the appendices point you to books and websites where you can find out more. So the author here is a freelance writer, and this book was written in 2005. I find it fascinating that it contains so much information, and it is tiny. It is so small. It's not even 200 pages long. But again, this will be a great reference. And then, just for fun, I have the Agatha Christie Quizbook by Andy East, the ultimate challenge for Christie fans. And so I may do, every once in a while, I may do a video with an Agatha Christie quiz for those of you who might like to play along. And this was published originally in 1975. I have The Mysterious World of Agatha Christie by Geoffrey Feinman. Queen of Crime, Duchess of Death, an intimate backstage look at the working methods of the greatest puzzle weaver of all time, including a complete bibliography of her work. This was first published in 1975 as well. The Suspect, an energetic woman in her 80s, once a redhead, now with a halo of white. Twice married, her only peculiarity, she refuses all interviews and photographs. The Murder Victims, over 100 men and women of every age and description in locations as far apart as Istanbul and England, and times as different as the 70s and ancient Egypt. The Weapons, an untiring pen that can compose 3 novels a year, and a mind that can spin out intricate plot after intricate plot. The Verdict, guilty of entertaining millions of avid fans for over 55 years. And then I have Kathleen Tynan's Agatha, which is her attempt to explain Agatha Christie's famous disappearance in 1926. This was also a movie, which is why we have, this is Dustin Hoffman and Vanessa Redgrave here on the cover. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this book was written after the film, that it was like one of those kind of, instead of there was a book, then they made a film, they made a full film, and then they made the book, I think. And I have read this quite a long time ago, but I cannot remember kind of how she explains the disappearance. This was written in 1978. Okay, and then another newer one to my collection is Andrew Eames' The 8:55 to Baghdad. This one is very interesting to me. I have not read this one yet either, but this was called the Best Travel Book of 2004, and the winner of the British Guild of Travel Writers Narrative Travel Book of the Year Award. Travel journalist Andrew Eames was in the ancient Syrian city of Aleppo when he met an elderly lady who had known Agatha Christie. Fascinated by the exotic history of this quintessentially English crime writer, he decided to retrace the trip from London to Baghdad, which she made in 1928. A journey which was to change Agatha Christie completely and lead to her other life as the wife of an archaeologist in the deserts of Syria and Iraq. Traveling from London to Baghdad by train on the eve of the Iraq War through the troubled areas of the Balkans and the Middle East, Eames found stark contrasts to the old Orient Express route, as well as some unexpected connections with the past. Very, very intriguing. Also newer to my collection, A is for Arsenic, The Poisons of Agatha Christie by Kathryn Harkup, I believe. This was shortlisted for the Macavity and BMA Book Awards in 2016. Agatha Christie reveled in the use of poison to kill off unfortunate victims in her books. She employed it more than any other murder method, with the poison itself often being a central part of the plot, providing vital clues to the discovery of the murderer's identity. Christie's extensive chemical knowledge provides the backdrop for A is for Arsenic, in which Kathryn Harkup investigates the poisons used in 14 classic Agatha Christie mysteries. This book is a celebration of the science used by the undisputed Queen of Crime. 14 novels, 14 poisons. Just because it's fiction doesn't mean it's all made up. And then I have Randall Toye's The Agatha Christie Who's Who. I have a few books in this particular edition, which I think is lovely. Look at these end papers. Yeah, so this is, it's a who's who, right? So it was published in 1980, and it just, it's in alphabetical order, and it just lists all the people in Agatha Christie's books. And so again, this is going to be a great reference to have as I build my Agatha Christie universe and do my read-through project. Another book in that same edition is Gwen Robyns' The Mystery of Agatha Christie. Again, the beautiful end papers. This was published in 1978, an intimate biography of the First Lady of Crime. And The Life and Crimes of Agatha Christie by Charles Osborne. Charles Osborne took a few of her plays and adapted them into novels. And but this is a non-fiction look at Agatha Christie. The author is a lifelong student of Agatha Christie, and in this book he approaches the most private of persons above all through her books. So, he has compiled a professional life of Agatha Christie, providing authoritative information on each book's provenance, on the work itself, and on its contemporary critical reception set against the background of the major events in the author's life. Illustrated with many black and white photos, this comprehensive guide to the world of Agatha Christie will be found by her many admirers to be indispensable. And this was originally published in 1982, so again, this is going to be a great reference for me. And then, very fun, I have the new Bedside, Bathtub, and Armchair companion to Agatha Christie. This was edited by Dick Riley and Pam McAllister, and there is a foreword by Julian Simmons. Published in, this is the second edition, I guess, which is why it's the new one. This was published in 1979. And so it just has various articles, like the publishing phenomenon, the fan, an article about a fan, and then it goes into a number of her books, and then various articles. And so this is just a really fun little collection of information. Again, a great reference. And then I have Agatha Christie, Around the World with the Queen of Mystery, The Grand Tour, edited by Mathew Prichard, and that is her grandson. An account of Agatha Christie's trip around the British Empire in 1922, told in never-before-published letters and photos taken from the Queen of Mystery's very own archives. This is a really interesting book. There's tons of photos, all about her trip around the world that she took with her first husband, Archie. Yeah, so this is just a really interesting look at a specific event in her life. And then I have Hilary MacAskill's Agatha Christie at Home, and this is a book about her beloved home Greenaway. Well, sorry, two houses. Two houses in Devon dominated her life. Ashfield in Torquay, where she was born and brought up, and which she did not part with until she was nearly 50. And Greenaway on the River Dart, which she then bought just before the Second World War. Though she was an enthusiastic property owner, at one stage she owned 8, many of them in London. She considered Greenaway the loveliest house in the world, and she spent her summers there until her death in 1976. And so, yeah, this is just a look at kind of what she's like at home. I love this picture on the back. So that is my Agatha Christie related collection. Have you read any of these books? Let's chat about them in the comment section down below. And if you like Agatha Christie, what is your favorite of her books that she wrote? I'd love to chat about that in the comment section down below too. And I will see you for another video soon. Bye.